Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Friday, yes.
It is Friday, the close of another week, which is great.
Assuming you close your week on Friday. I find that these days things are blending in. And Friday feels like Saturday, and Saturday drifts into Sunday. There isn't good sports on TV right now, so yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I was thinking
that's what's real for me, but
which is good. I like that. Look at you using that language.
You using the lingo. Look at that. So
good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Brush. That's Bob Graham, and this is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast where we try to help find that one thing, the one thing that's going to help you get through your day. Maybe today, maybe you won't use it until next week or the following week or the next month. And you can add it to your toolkit to help you when you found yourself stuck and you're not sure how to take that next step. And while we'll have a great discussion, it's made even better when you offer comments and feedback on the conversation that we're having. At the end, we will share our one thing that we think of on our topic, and we encourage you to share yours because we know, as Bob said, what is real for each of us is going to be different and unique. And so by you sharing that one thing may help someone else who desperately needs that today or tomorrow. And so please feel free to share in the comments, and we look forward to the discussion. So Bob, we've been talking all week about change. One of those things that I know many, many people are not very fond of. And, we've gone through the litany of different parts of, what change looks like, why we need it, creating it, working through it, all of those things. And I think that, today we're going to try to talk about really why we need it, what the value of change is and what the benefit is. So why don't you start off today with some thoughts on that?
A couple of thoughts strike me. First of all, I didn't think of it until just this minute, but I've always liked jobs that are unpredictable. I can remember being a newspaper reporter right out of college, and you go to work at 8 a.m. You had no idea if you were going to be at a fire, a shooting, a school board meeting, planning a zoning meeting. I mean, it was all over the place, and I loved it. And what I liked about it was always different. And it's funny, in my head, different was good. Change is scary. But what it really was, as I think back to it today, it was change. Every morning I came to work and the rules changed. The fire was at 4 p.m. and deadline was at 5 p.m. Graham, get out to the fire. Calling with a story before 5 o'clock. You're calling in, you're telling them all the details you can get. The fire's going on. And, you've got smoke, you smell it. It was very exciting. But I love the different. But as I think about it, if I had thought about those days as change, I think I would have gotten up some mornings with trepidation, like, oh, geez, what are they going to do to me today? And I think that's what happens when we become an entrepreneur, a business leader, a manager. We take what's different each day and give it that word change. And change, just by that shift of that one word, it makes it feel scarier because change suggests that you have a choice. Change suggests that you can make the wrong decision. But when it's different, I had no control over it. The editor told me where to go and what to do. If I wanted my job, I was going to the fire. I was going to the police shooting. I was going to the school board meeting. I hated school board meetings. They were boring and they were tedious. Not my choice. And also it was out of my hands. And the change that I find as a business owner, so much of that change is in my hands. I am controlling that every day. You and I are controlling that every day. We make decisions, we think through things. and we make our best guess.
Right.
It could be wrong. I mean, we've got one right now, the book that's going out. I have a little bit of fear that cover is not going to work the way we want it to. We'll learn from it.
Look at that. Look at where you've come in 2 weeks.
I'll be furious for about a month, but we'll learn.
We're always learning, right? And I think that's I think that even in the most routine job, there is change. Every day is different. You're dealing with a different, even though you might be doing the same work, you're dealing with a different client. You're dealing with a different scenario, a different set of numbers, a different feedback, thoughts, ideas, whatever the case might be. And so that to me is what's interesting, is we are so fearful of change. Not all of us, but many people don't like change. And yet we go through change all the time. Every day is different. We wake up and you know what? It might be 80 degrees again the same day. And yet the sun's in a different place. People have had a day of experience. Now they're in a different spot. Maybe they had a good night's sleep. Maybe it didn't have a good night's sleep. So like change is all around us. And it's interesting to me that people find it so hard to embrace. I guess they just don't look at it that way. We don't look
Right.
at that. All right, I wake up and that's changed. Well, the change is that I got up and it's different than yesterday. They look at it as, well, that's just my routine. I wake up in the morning, I get up and I do this, and this, and then I move forward. And I think if we start to see that as the norm, maybe I shared this yesterday or I wrote it in LinkedIn, I can't remember, but we get up every day and we change our clothes, right? Well, most days. And
probably not the day to say that, Tom, because we'll be okay. We'll change clothes for tomorrow.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't.
Well, that means just we recorded. It doesn't mean didn't change clothes tomorrow. Anyhow, but we're so comfortable with that, right? We get up and that's what we do. We're like, I can't wear that. I need to wear something different. And so it becomes routine. Change becomes routine. And if we think of all that's always happening, there's always change going on. Do we get more comfortable with the fact that, this is change, but that's just part of what happens every day. And yes, some change may seem larger. Yet I think if we get more comfortable with that, you know what, things are going to change. And yes, sometimes I can control it. Many times I can't. And all right, now I just need to figure out how to move on with it and understand that there is always going to be change in our lives, in our work. How do we just accept that and figure out how to move forward and leverage that to the best we can?
It occurs to me, Tom, this morning that much of the country is dealing with some really changed weather. We're in the Baltimore area. I'm looking out the window right now. It has begun to snow again. I went out to get the newspaper and slid on a sheet of ice. People who are driving to work this morning, my next door neighbor was up extra early, scraping ice off his windshield to get to work for a meeting. And Tim told us down in Texas, they have 8 inches of snow. They don't even have plows, I don't think, down there. That's just crazy snow.
Right.
There's water issues in Texas. There's problems all across the country. There's some flooding in the southeast. The weather is different this week. And what's funny to me is we can't do anything about it.
Correct.
If I'm going out somewhere today, I'm going to have to deal with the fact that it's icy. I'm going to have to scrape the window. I can't do anything about it. It is just it. And for so many people, they've had to adjust. There are people working at home that normally go to an office. There are people who are dealing with their kids who may not have virtual school, but have no school. So now, I got meetings all day and I got to deal with my kids. We are constantly put in the face of change. I wonder if we think when we're entrepreneurs that we have complete control over the change. And that fallacy is what bites us. Well, because and I know it happens to us.
That was interesting when you said, about us and how we go, we make changes all the time. And I think that's correct. And sometimes we don't control it. We do the best we can with what we have, the knowledge, experience, and perspective we have. and then we see what happens. We did that with your cover. The two of us sat down and spent some time trying to figure it out. To the best of our ability, we figured it out. At this point, there's nothing else we can do. It's done. Right?
I hear what you're saying. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah. So we just accept it and move forward and be like, okay. And change, what's happening in Texas is not good. Doesn't mean it's good. It's all right. Now that we've got it, how do I deal with it? How do I figure out to make the most of whatever the situation is? And then say, okay, yes, this is extreme and nobody expected it. And these things haven't happened in Texas for 30 years or longer. And that just means that it may happen again. So what am I going to do once this is over and things can get back to what it typically might be in Texas? What are they going to do now to step forward and figure out how to be better prepared the next time this happens?
Let's get some comments in, Tom, shall we? Tim says, oddly enough, Tim down in Texas where it's so cold. Happy Friday, everyone. It's going to be an amazing day. North Texas will get above freezing for the first time in 8 days.
There's a perspective for you.
Yeah, but think about it. Being above freezing, because I was talking to Tim, I think yesterday or the day before, and he was going to a church to turn off the water because they were afraid it would freeze. So, talk about change. No, I don't think Tim was expecting that to come up.
No.
And then Tim also says, when things become too routine, there's no challenge, no excitement. Personally, I need to have some unpredictability in order to enjoy life. Change is good. And it's funny, I would agree with Tim completely. That is exactly how I see the world until you tell me, hey, Bob, so your business needs to make a big change today. And then I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? If Facebook shut down today, you and I would have a radical change to make tomorrow morning.
Sure.
Could happen. I hope not, but it could happen. And I think that's what scares me at times, is the fear that something radical like that could happen and we'd be forced to react to it. And I think sometimes that paralyzes me and other people. Another comment.
Can I just offer with that? The only thing that I would share from mine is I think change is real. I don't want to judge on whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just real. It is what happens that we can do, and it's what happens to us, and it impacts where we're at. So try to accept that.
Okay. Peter says, the universe, we are always changing. Resistance is futile. Dealing with change is how we express our creativity and uniqueness. I love it. Yeah. I never thought about it that way, but that is what makes us unique, is how we adapt to those changes. And if Facebook closed today, you and I would have to find some creative solutions tomorrow. And Peter also reinforces what you say. Yes, to change is real. So look at Peter tracking with you.
Well, I wear people down, I think. I've been using that for a long time. And I just think that for me, it makes it easier for me to deal with it. Is not that it's good or bad. So if I stop trying to judge, is this going to be good or bad for me? It's more like, this is what I'm doing, or this is what has been done. At that point, I can't change any of it. That has happened. All I can do is figure out how to use that to better understand what's real for me and move forward. And I think if we just try to accept that there's not a lot we can do about it. Yes, we can make some decisions. Yes, things are going to be thrust upon us. And if we judge it, then there's the challenge of, you're going to be like, oh, that cover's not very good. All right, well, what can you do about it now? Absolutely nothing. The only thing we can do is, in the next edition, when those 100,000 orders come in, we will we
got 20 already. It's not even out, Tom. We got 20 out the door.
Well, that's a nice plug.
Thank you. And by the way, my mother did not buy all 20. She has bought 0.
That's a plug for her to buy. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, my mother
Mom
gets a signed copy of each book every time. No charge.
And if you would like a signed copy, you can pre-order. You can go to our website, Ring of Renegades, Renegade Success Network, sorry. And you can pre-order.
I'll put it in the chat box.
There you go. And Bob will actually sign it for you. That will be a legendary in a few years, worth lots of money. And the content is good as well.
Thank you. I was going to say, you're one of the few people who's read it, so I hope you think the content's good.
Absolutely. I try not to judge. It's real. It's what was real for you, which is what I love about it. Then everyone else can determine how it impacts what's real for them. So I think that, the other thing I was thinking about is that if we don't change, we are not just standing still. People are flying by us, or, things are flying by us. And so often I think we feel like, well, if we just keep doing what we've always done, we're going to get the same thing. And I think that's not the case. I'm more and more believing that if we just kept doing the same thing all the time, it would become routine. It would become less, I think, interesting for people, and they would move on. They would find something else. And so we wouldn't get the same results. We would likely get worse results. And I think that's part of the reason why we always need to be thinking and adapting and modifying, because everything else around us is as well, so that we have a chance to try to keep up. We took on Clubhouse as not like this is the end all be all. And who knows, it might be an avenue that makes sense for us, a space for us to be in. So let's at least explore it. It's a change. It's something different. They don't have to stare at our faces. So that's probably I don't want to judge it, but that's probably a decent change. And I think that's,
we are meant for radio.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% positive on that, but yes, we are. Sorry. Killing our new sponsorship opportunities.
Now you're catching on. Tom, it occurs to me as you were talking that we have McDonald's that for years made Big Macs and French fries and hamburgers. And then in the last 15 years, they've diversified. They've bought other companies that are in different food segments. They've shifted their offerings. They've been open 24 hours. Even a company like McDonald's, which when I was a kid, it was straight down the line. You knew exactly everything, but they've had to diversify and change because of people's changing taste, people coming into their space and competing with different types of offerings. The Paneras. There were no Paneras when I was a kid. And the Paneras and the fast casual and the restaurant in the gas station where you can get really good chicken or something. And so here's a company a model in the last century for great success in business, and they're constantly shifting. So even those tried and true, stayed and steady businesses are constantly having to deal with change. And many of the innovations they come up with are really great. McDonald's has tried to perfect the French fries so it can get in that little box and get to your home or be in your car and still be hot in 3 to 5 to 12 minutes. Seemingly a little innovation in the world. But if you want hot French fries, that's a deal breaker. And they've worked tirelessly to figure that out. And that's what we do in our businesses. And
sure.
To me, the opportunity with change is the innovation. And what I'm trying to shift my thinking to this week is, what's the opportunity that comes with change, not the potential drawback, what's going to go wrong, but hey, what could go right? If the book comes out, people read it, it changes their lives. Yeah, it was another plug. It's a shameless plug, I admit it. But how great is that? That would be a great change. That'd be an awesome change. Nothing could make me happier. Okay, some things could make me happier, but
No, I think the challenge for that is you may not know that, right? People might get it. You said you sold 10 books. What are the chances that all 10 of those people are going to write you back?
20.
I'm sorry.
20.
Sorry.
Come on, dude.
Sorry.
You wait till your book comes out. You'll be the same way. By the way,
maybe.
look at the shift of perspective in the last week on the book. How's that for crazy?
It's been a lot of hard work on my part for that point, but
nothing truer has been said.
But here's the thing: is like those 20 books. They may not one of them may not may. That's a bad sentence. Not one of those 20 people may send you any. Wow, I can't figure it out. They may not provide feedback. Does that matter?
No. And 5 of them are going into libraries, so they will be accessible to many people potentially, which is even more exciting to me.
Right. And I think the fact that you put out what was real for you is enough. It's not, and then someone will determine whether it changes their lives. You can't do that. All you can do is put it out there. And someone somewhere might read it, will read it, and they might be changed. And there's not necessarily they're going to write back to you and say, how many times have you written back to the person who wrote the book that made a huge change for you and said, wow, this was a game changer. This made all the difference in the world. I
have a little bit because I'm an author, and so I know what that's like. But that's not. You're right. It's not typical, and I don't expect to know if it changes anyone. Tim says it's not attempting to do anything about change. It's about how we react to it. As far as Tom's book goes, he has to write it first. Ooh, look at that.
Sounds like a challenge. It's the gauntlet.
It does.
It's set. Lord, now I've got to be held accountable for that.
I saw you checking someone's accountability on a book the other day.
I know.
Yeah. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I accept.
Okay. So what's your one thing today, Tom?
I had one and now I can't think of what it was. I think my one thing, if we go back to the topic of why we need it.
Why would we do that?
I don't know. I think that if we can get to the point where we understand we do need change, that's how we are going to grow. And it's happening around us anyway. So whether we feel like we need it or not, it's happening. And if we can look at it more like we change our clothes. It's funny. One of my coaches got me to, when people talk about sharing what's the price of a product or service that they offer. And she said, you need to take all the emotion out of it and just say, it's just like asking someone to pass the salt at the dinner table. And so my thought on that as it relates to change is, what if we just think about all change as like changing our clothes? We do it every day. It's something that's so routine that, yes, we put thought into it. And there are times when we stand in front of our closet and are like, holy cow, what am I going to wear? Or this is a big event. What am I going to wear? So yes, sometimes it takes more thought and effort and more emotion goes into it. And yet it's just changing your clothes. So what if we thought about any time we have to make change is just like, hey, just another thing I do every day. I get up, some things are different, and I make a different decision. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like it a lot. That was awesome. So let's make a different decision for people, help them make a different decision. And that's to come to our networking event next Thursday, the 25th of February at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is going to be a different kind of networking event. You are going to be amazed at how different it is than what you're accustomed to. Different, more fun, more engaging, and you're going to walk away with people that you really want to talk to. So it's totally free. All you need to go to the Ring Renegades Facebook group, and you'll find the information right there. Tom pinned it right at the top so you can't miss it. And then the other thing we need to talk about, Tom, totally just escaped my mind. There was something else that we were going to... Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, if you haven't joined the Ring Renegades Facebook group, you missed out. If you were someone who wanted to get into Clubhouse, we gave away 3 invites to Clubhouse yesterday. And I believe, Tom, we have some more, don't we?
Actually, I have 4 that I
Okay. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, if you want to get into Clubhouse and you haven't joined the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, you should join that group and stay tuned to it. Keep an eye on it because we will be making those available over the next couple days, right? Through the weekend, do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'll put it up today.
Okay. And it'll be first come, first serve. We had 3 people take advantage of it yesterday. All 3 people were so excited. It was so much fun. It's like giving out candy.
Yes.
And we do things like that in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. We also gather like-minded people trying to figure out their own unique pathway to success. They're supporting each other. There are inspirational quotes in there. And there's an open and honest dialogue. And it's a private group. You need to tell us why you're a renegade. And once you do that, you join us and you can really gather some great information. I find it's my go-to. It's becoming more and more my morning paper and my afternoon check-in. It's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, who posted something? And it's just great. Motivational Monday, I think it is, that I can't remember her name. Who does the motivation piece every Monday? You just did a piece.
Now you're challenging me.
I know her last name. It's Montanez. What's her first? Sharon, thank you. She does a great piece every Monday that just fires me up. You can see the Today's Antidote in there, and you can get to know people. And more, these people are starting to form the kinds of partnerships that are advancing their business. They're starting in that group, and then they're going off and having discussions. I know they're partnering on work projects. I know they're doing bartering agreements. And I know that they're really helping each other to expand their knowledge, experience, and perspective so that they can figure out what's real for them each day. Look at me using the lingo again.
I wore you down.
You did. So, Tom, why don't you give them a chance to learn more about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group?
I will do that. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We hope that you will join us inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. As Bob said, just go to Facebook and search for Ring of Renegades, and you can join our growing community. So we hope to see you inside there. And if not, we will see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone, and go out and make some change.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.